Hey there, welcome back to My Green Pets. What you've just seen is a teeny tiny little taste of the weather that we often have here at this time of year in the Ohio Valley. This has been a particularly stormy year and lots of rain, lots of heat as well. And the orchids that are outside, some of them, like these Vandas, really love it because this is the same kind of weather that they get back in their native habitat. It's warm all the time, rains a lot, lots of heat and humidity. So these plants just really love it. Not all my orchids do. For example, I have a Zygopetalum that was really nice earlier in the year, and it has since dropped all of its leaves because it can't handle the heat. So let's check out the shade house after the storm. And we didn't have anything too serious. Believe me, what you saw was just nothing compared to how bad it can be. We often have things like tornadoes and things like that coming through. But the orchids generally outside weather it pretty well. You can see there's water everywhere. Everything's soaking wet. But in spite of that, the shade cloth does a pretty good job of protecting everything from the elements that may blow in there. Earlier in the year there was some hail. We had a pretty bad hailstorm actually, and the shade house was able to catch all of the hail. However, it was so heavy that it pulled the shade cloth down and stretched it really bad, but it didn't bring the whole shade tent down, which is pretty darn great. Right now we're looking at my Bulbophyllums, and most of them are putting out new growth right now. This one, the Bulbophyllum echinolabium, it is growing two new growths, but I've had this plant for a couple years and it still has not bloomed for me, and you can see it's not because doesn't have enough bulbs. It's got plenty of bulbs on it. So I moved it into higher light. I've stopped fertilizing it. I'm just trying a couple different things to see if I can get it jolted into blooming. If we go over to the shadier part of the shade tent, we'll see the table with my Paphiopedilums, the slipper orchids. And I've moved some around, so there's not quite as many on there as there was last time, but I guess you could say the best, healthiest of them are on this table right now. And in particular, this one, the Paph Prime Child, it's got a bud on it. Actually, you can see two buds on it, and last year there were three. We're hoping for at least three, maybe four this year. That would be pretty awesome if it did that. Most of the plants after rain do get some water caught in the leaves, but with all the air circulation out there, the wind's blowing and the humidity is absorbing a lot of that water. I haven't had too many problems with rot, even though some plants do kind of suffer a little bit, especially at the beginning when they're transitioning from the winter indoors to being outdoors. But these Cattleya seedlings, they do very well indoors, and I bring them outside just because I just feel like something about it is good for them, even though they don't necessarily, I don't know, they seem to be growing alright. They got plenty of new growth and stuff on them, but sometimes I wonder just exactly what the benefits of being outside are. Of course, the high humidity is good, and the rain is clean and kind of clears out their pots of any excess salts or anything. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what I think is the best thing about being outside. This plant experienced the worst thing about being outside, which is being destroyed by hail, but even it is putting out lots of roots right now and a new growth, and it'll hopefully bloom in January. And then finally, ants often are found kind of drinking the happy sap that you often see on your plants outside, and I feel like those ants serve to drive away other insects that might try to eat your new growths. That's just my theory, though. Alright, let's go inside. Neophynetia, or Vanda falcata, is in bloom. Now this is a teeny tiny baby plant. In fact, this is the first bloom, but it put out two flowers. Hey, I'm pretty happy, and they smell really sweet and beautiful in the evening. They smell beautiful, yeah. Clevia miniata, the South African bush lily, is open, and this was kind of unexpected. Usually I think of these as early spring bloomers, but this, someone actually told me that if it didn't bloom in the spring, it might bloom in June, and yep, it did. So that was very smart. This mini Phal has been identified. Of course, we can never be completely 100% sure, but a very clever young man named Joseph has suggested that this is Phalaenopsis sogogotris, and upon looking up some pictures of that on the image search, boy, it sure does definitely look like it could be the one. We can see right here that it's about to push out a new plant that's going to come out from the base there, basil cakey. In Bromeliad news, the Achmea fasciata is very, very close to what would be full bloom for this plant. The pink bract will open up, and lots of little purplish blue flowers will start poking their way out. And if you look there, you can see the very, very first one starting to poke out. And this usually happens pretty quickly. Within a few days, they'll all be pushed out, and this plant will be in its full glory for only maybe 1 day or so, 1 or 2 days. We'll finish off with Paphiopedilum annabelchen, which has its 2 flowers open now, and it's looking very nice, brightening up an otherwise dark corner. I hope that you guys have a great weekend and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time right here on My Green Pets.